Welcome to the Certificate 3 in Education Support Pre-Enrollment Information. This presentation should give you all the information you need to make an informed decision when enrolling in this qualification at Central West TAFE in Geraldton in 2010. Enrolments for 2010 will commence at the end of January during Enrolment Week. Potential students are advised to check local press and radio advertisements for exact dates and times. The Certificate 3 in Education Support qualification is highly competitive, and it's not uncommon for us to have 60 or more students on the waiting list at the end of each year. Potential students should be aware that we only take 20 students in our face-to-face class. Because we are a regional centre and have a limited number of schools, we have a responsibility not to flood the local market. In limiting our numbers to 20, our graduating students have a greater chance of gaining employment. On enrolment day, it is a case of first in, first served to eligible students. We are unable to hold places or take deposits in advance. Enrolling students need to produce proof of Year 10 completion and have a minimum $100 deposit on enrolment day. Potential students must meet a number of entry requirements prior to enrolling in this qualification. The first of these is a minimum completion of Year 10 with passes in English and Maths. The main reason for this is that literacy and numeracy make up a large component of the role of an education assistant, and therefore potential students must demonstrate a sufficient level of literacy and numeracy themselves. All students must also be computer literate. All schools require education assistants to be able to use and support students in information technology. Most of our classwork is also computer-based, so all students need to have this background. Upon enrolment, students will also be required to get Working with Children checks and Department of Education and Training criminal screening checks. These have fees attached, $10 for Working with Children and $33 for the DET screening check. These forms will be given out on enrolment day. This qualification is delivered part-time over 12 months and follows the school terms. The new education support qualification is made up of 14 units. 8 of these units are core and 6 are electives. Electives have been selected by our local Industry Advisory Council. This group is made up of teachers, principals and Department of Education and Training staff. The units are then grouped into clusters so the information is presented holistically. There are 4 clusters, with 1 being delivered each term. The clusters are literacy and numeracy, workplace skills, additional needs, and communicating through diversity. Assessments for this qualification are practical and reflect the underpinning knowledge and skills required of a good education assistant. They are based around classroom workshops, e-learning, practical activities and presentations. There is a compulsory practical component attached to this qualification. All students must work 1 day a week on a voluntary basis in a school throughout the duration of their studies. Lecturers organise placements at schools for students, and these commence once all students have settled into study at about week 5. Students are assessed on the job by a classroom teacher and are also visited and assessed by their college lecturer. The Certificate 3 in Education Support is delivered in 3 main modes. The first is traditional face-to-face, where students attend classes 1.5 days per week. Numbers in these classes are limited to a maximum of 20. The second option is flexible delivery. It's available to regional students living outside of Geraldton. There are a limited number of flexible learning positions available for students living in Geraldton. Recognition of prior learning, or RPL, is the third main mode of delivery. It's open to eligible candidates who are currently employed as education assistants and have been working in this area for a number of years and would then like to gain formal recognition of their knowledge and skills. RPL candidates are advised to contact lecturers directly to discuss this process in more detail. In mid-November of each year, Central West TAFE hosts a pre-enrolment information session. All students whose names are on the waiting list are contacted and invited to this session. It's a very informal session and goes for around half an hour to 40 minutes. Students are able to ask questions at the end as well. More detailed information about the course is given at this session, and it enables potential students to make a more informed choice about enrolling in this qualification. Attendance is not compulsory at this session, and attending does not guarantee any student of a place in the course. It is simply an information session. There are a number of pathways leading on from the Certificate 3 in Education Support. Students may choose to continue their study and enrol in the Certificate 4 in Education Support, which has a special needs focus. Students may then use it if they decide to continue a career in education and wish to enrol in a Bachelor of Education. All universities have different entry requirements, so it's best to confirm these with your university of choice. Thank you for participating in this presentation. For further information on this qualification, you can contact Central West TAFE on 99 562 721 or our free call number 1800 672 700. Thank you and best wishes with your study.